Hello and welcome people to another spicy game review, and it's a gift from the same person again. The game is made from the same developer as the last one I reviewed. That should give you a great perception of the death scenes. If you haven't seen Claire's one, watch it now! Imagine if there was a zombie apocalypse, but with a slight twist. The zombies can mutate and become plants in the end. And now imagine that only men can become zombies, who kill other men but give women the wurst, which after some time become bakeries and keep getting a lot of bread. In Overgrown Genesis you play as a purple-haired tomboy, and you were unfortunate enough to be born in Birmingham. The story of the game is not as dramatic as the endgame scenes or the dead ones. But before I introduce you to the story, let me tell you about the mechanics of the game. The game itself has tutorial notes, but with the kindness of my heart, I will explain them to you. You work with the WSD or with the mouse button, but keep in mind, when you're running from a zombie, the movement is not as smooth as you might think, and I would recommend you to turn on always dash, because that's how I played the whole game. You can interact with the environment with enter or with left click. There are multiple types of weapons in the game which can be used by pressing P, and guns can be reloaded with R. At some parts of the game you have to use a flashlight which can be turned on with F. Every step you make wastes 1% of your flashlight's battery, so be careful. Last one is your menu. There you can see your quests, items, stats and save your game. Your motto is like stamina, which can only be affected when a zombie catches you. Hunger is only used when you sleep to recover morale. The more you get caught, the more infected you get, but you have disinfectants to remove your infection. But if you get caught enough times, you start to vigorously play the guitar and get swarmed by thirsty zombies while you're asleep. There are 3 acts, a prologue and an epilogue in the game. In the prologue you have to get yourself some food because you're a broken, so you have to get a job. From there you're introduced to the choosing your path mechanic. You can either become an OnlyFans girl or not. But because I'm a strong independent woman, I chose to grind my way through. Then you're sent on a mission with some police officers as an escort. But because every Westerner cop is more corrupt than an Eastern European politician, they want to do the fun you know. I suggest you to rebel because you get a free gun and some ammo, but thankfully the zombies came to save you. But before you escape the building, try to loot everything because every resource you get is important, and there is a true ending which I will tell you how to get in the end. After you escape you go to Act 1. There you meet some guy, and if you have picked up the note in the building you were in the prologue, you can give it to him. I'll suggest you to do so. If you hear a gunshot when you get out of the room, nothing happened, trust me. Then you get into the metro where you have to use the flashlight, and you get introduced to the crawler, who is everywhere in the map, and the developer is a scumbag because he specifically put them crowded next to the loot. I'll give you one advice. When you go into this building, don't go through the blocked door in the bathroom. There you might meet something unexpected and get turned into a breeding puppet. In the metro you meet a delusional schizophrenic person. He's just like me for real, and he'll give you a key if you give him cigarettes. But don't go with violence, because he might be a schizo, but he will turn you into a dungeon though. After you get out of the metro, from the other way, you'll be in a different part of the city. There you will meet 2 new characters. If you wish, you can do their quests. If you sleep with Barton, you will get more morale. When you get into the hospital and take some notes, you'll be introduced to the 2 new scientists who say they want to help the human race. Then, when you have done everything on this map, you embark with a boat, but you arrive in a devastated park place where horny dogs are patiently waiting to hump your body. On the right side of the map, you get in a house where you learn that a girl's dog was once bitten and it turned green. Then the dog tried to vigorously thrust his swam in her oven, but when you arrive there, it has been too late and the girl has been turned into a furry. If you get caught by them, you turn into a deranged furry too. When you escape the park, you have finally finished Act 1. In Act 2 you have to help the last remains of Birmingham. Remember the cops who tried to do the funny on you? Well, they managed to overthrow the government and massacre half of the population. But don't worry, his revolt split in 2, and their leader managed to eradicate his entire fighting force and the one opposing him. You managed to make the zombies eat his remaining group alive. When you have completed everything in the city, you and the remaining people of Birmingham will escape to a nearby base. In Act 2 you will meet 2 new enemy types. The runner, by his name you can guess he's pretty fast and annoying, and the crocodile monster, which can only be met in the sewers, where your walking speed is severe to a crippled old lady, so the only escape route is extermination of the wildlife. In Act 3 you will be in a military base and you have to help the army to gain their trust. In there you will meet a new enemy type which cannot be killed unless you destroy their source of life. Then they all perish, just like my friends when I take my pills. Then, when you destroy a whole mother plant, you have to go to a mansion and you will be greeted with a plant mummy, which has a large dong. And that's why you should become a vegan. Long live veganism. I forgot to mention that you almost have unlimited ammo, and the food you have collected can be sold and used to get ammo from the army, and you will need it for the side quests. When you enter the mansion, the plant mummy can speak to you, and if you get caught by her, you see what her wurst can do to you. There you can either help Zara or Farenstein. Now this is where you experience the different game endings. There are 5 in total. Ending A is when you give the sample that Zara wants you to get her. If you gave her the sample, the plant mummy, which is called the Dryad, will enter the room and show you how vegans can use their vegetables. The Dryads will take over the world and all women will be turned into bakeries. And you give birth to big green balls, which turn into the vegan version of you and start to do the funny with you. I'm not even joking, that's what the ending is. And on top of that, the ending room is horrendous. I cannot show it on YouTube. The other endings you can get is when you give the sample that Zara needed to Farenstein. If you get caught by one of the big robots, ending B will trigger, where you will be put in a machine and get properly dealt with by an enormous pipe. And all of your friends are killed, but only you remain because you're special. Ending C1 is when you execute the doctor and resist the tyrannical leadership of the military, where you and all of your female friends are turned into toys for the soldiers. So much bread comes by you that you start to like it. Ending C2 is when you support the tyrannical dictatorship of the military and you become the dictator yourself, making all of your friends into bakeries. Ending E is the true ending, in which you can see all of the endings in the game, and which is the best ending as well, where you become the president and where everybody is treated equally. Plus, the Dryads and humans have made peace between themselves. You can also see new spicy scenes of all the female characters and you. To get the true ending, you have to collect all of the notes, complete all of the quests, and never pick the second option when doing the shelter quest. I will link the Steam guide which I used to get the ending, but let me tell you, the tutorial says not to ask the soldiers for favors. If you're dumb enough like me and you misunderstood what the guide meant and had to finish the game again, the guide meant not to pick the second option. You need to use your base points to upgrade your base in order to get the true ending. You can get the game from Steam and support the creators for their future projects. That's everything from me. Hope you enjoyed the video, have a nice day, you're never safe from God's judgment, you answer for your sins, adios future patience.